even send them contracts? Why would the team send these players contracts? They're not going to accept it. There's no CBA agreement. Well, once you start showing them money, they're more likely to say, BS, money talks, BS walks. Once you start showing them contracts that they could possibly be getting, if there is a...
The WNBA just weaponized money against its own players. And if you think that sounds dramatic, wait until you hear what they actually did. While the league and the players' union are locked in a brutal negotiation standoff with no collective bargaining agreement, no season scheduled, and no end in sight, the WNBA just told all 12 general managers to do something that makes absolutely no sense: send out contract offers anyway to free agents right now in the middle of a labor war. Let that sink in. No CBA, no agreement, no resolution, but here's your contract offer. This is an
agent. Let's take this a step further. If I'm an agent, I am using this, and when I'm going to my player, I'm using it to tell them how much this would translate to on the CBA deal that the owners currently offered. So let's say my name's Kelsey Mitchell, for example. Boom, here's 400. The Fever are offering you a $400,000 max salary contract. You know, Kelsey, if you guys would accept that deal, it's really a $1.2 million deal. Oh, you know, I didn't think of it like that.
Business as usual. This is psychological warfare with a 7-figure price tag, and it's about to test whether WNBA players value solidarity more than the biggest paychecks of their entire careers. Because here's what's really happening. You're Kelsey Mitchell. You've been standing with your union, ready to sacrifice the entire 2025 season if that's what it takes to get a fair deal. You've been to the meetings, signed the statements, posted the solidarity graphics on Instagram. You're committed. Then your phone rings. Your agent's voice is different, excited. The Indiana Fever just offered you $400,000. The Las Vegas Aces want you for $350,000. Real offers, real teams, real money. Suddenly, this isn't about principles anymore. That's actual money sitting on the table while you're fighting for abstract concepts like revenue sharing percentages and salary cap structures. And you know what the wildest part is? The owners know exactly what they're doing. They're not just showing players what they could earn under the current CBA, they're creating...
Oh, I didn't think about it like that. That's what's going to get these players to jump. If they start equating what the offer is to what that new offer could be that the owners are laying out there. Maybe on the face, it's looking like a $200,000 deal. But if you actually were to accept the proposal that the owners are laying out there, it's really a $600,000 deal. Once the money starts rolling in, once they start getting shown actual dollar signs and figures, it's going to be much harder for them to stay united on this front.
A baseline that agents can immediately translate into what those contracts would become under the owner's proposed deal, the one the union is currently rejecting. So let's do the math that every agent in the WNBA is doing right now with their clients. Kelsey Mitchell gets that $400,000 offer under the current structure. Her agent sits down with her and says, "Kelsey, if we accept what the owners are proposing, this same contract translates to $1.2 million. Not $400,000, $1.2 million. Dana Evans sees a $300,000 offer. Her agent pulls out the calculator. That's actually $880,000 under the new deal they're trying to get you to accept. Notice what just happened? It's no longer a negotiation about abstract percentages. It's about looking at 6-figure numbers that could become 7-figure numbers while you're deciding whether to hold the line or cash the check. That's not an accident. That's strategy. The owners understand human psychology better than most people give them credit for. Standing united for better working conditions is easy when the alternative is hypothetical. It gets exponentially harder when you're staring at the biggest contract offer of your entire life, with your agent telling you what it could become, while your union leadership is asking you to walk away from it. So what's actually happening legally here? Because
under U.S. labor law, the WNBA has a status quo obligation to allow the sending of qualifying offers under the expired agreement. A moratorium, a legally authorized period of delay, could be agreed to by the union and the league, resulting in the complete pause of all free agency activity until a new CBA is ratified. As of Friday night, just before midnight, multiple league sources told Front Office Sports a moratorium was under consideration, proposed by the league to the players' union an hour before the CBA deadline. With no moratorium yet in place, WNBA officials spent the past 2 days calling general managers and executives from every franchise to tell them that the status quo period means they can send out qualifying offers to
This isn't just drama. There are actual labor laws in play. The deadline passed Friday night, January 10th at midnight. That was the third negotiating deadline. It came and went with no deal. The league didn't implode, but negotiations entered what's called a status quo period. Under U.S. labor law, the WNBA has what's termed a status quo obligation. Both sides keep negotiating while maintaining all the conditions of the expired CBA. Everything stays frozen in place. Except, the league proposed a moratorium just 1 hour before the deadline, a complete freeze on all free agency activity until a new CBA gets signed. The Players Association was considering it Friday night, but with no moratorium in place, the status quo period means teams are legally allowed to send qualifying offers to free agents starting January 11th, and that's exactly what WNBA officials did. They spent the weekend calling general managers and executives from all 12 franchises with the same message: send those offers out right now. Here's the question that actually matters. How many players got those calls on January 11th? How many agents reached out saying Chicago offered you this, Las Vegas wants you for that, Connecticut's putting this package together, Atlanta's interested at this number? How many players who were 100% committed to holding out are now at 90%? 80, 75, because even if these offers seem pointless on the surface, they accomplish something critical. They give players concrete information about their market value right now. Does my team see me as a max player? Am I getting mid-level offers? Are teams only willing to pay me the minimum? That information matters when you're deciding whether to sacrifice an entire season of your career. And remember, these careers are short. You don't get these years back. And for players being recruited by teams with Caitlin Clark, the math becomes absolutely fascinating. The Indiana Fever might offer you a mid-level
day, January 11th. How many players got calls from their agents saying, look, Chicago Sky are offering you this, the Las Vegas Aces are offering you this, the Los Angeles Sparks are offering you this, the Connecticut Sun are offering you this, the Atlanta Dream are offering you this? How many players actually got calls today with an offer and are now not so strong with the position that they are currently holding? If they are 100% all favor for a strike, are they now down to 90%, 80%, 75%? Are they now 50-50? Thinking that, this actually is a lot of money that we're turning down here. Indeed.
Level deal, something around $250,000. Solid money, but not spectacular. But you're not evaluating salary, you're calculating the off-court marketing opportunities that come from playing alongside the most marketable player in women's basketball history. That mid-level contract potentially becomes a 7-figure total compensation package when you factor in endorsements, appearance fees, social media growth, and brand deals. Look at who's already benefited from the Caitlin Clark effect. Lexi Hall went from relative anonymity to massive social media presence and endorsement deals basically overnight. Kelsey Mitchell's profile exploded. Aaliyah Boston's marketability increased substantially. Erica Wheeler gained national recognition. Even players on opposing teams like Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson saw their platforms grow just from memorable interactions with Clark during games. So, when a player evaluates an offer from Indiana, they're not looking at the salary line, they're thinking about what happened to every other player who joined that roster. The Fever might offer you $300,000, but the real question is whether that exposure turns into $500,000 in additional income, or more. Suddenly, walking away from that opportunity to maintain union solidarity becomes a much harder decision, and the owners know this. They're not sending these offers because they expect players to sign them tomorrow. They're sending them to plant seeds of doubt, to make players question whether their union leadership actually has a winning strategy. And then there's the arena.
You see Lexi Hall, Sydney Colson, Sophie Cunningham, Aaliyah Boston, Ari McDonald, Kelsey Mitchell. All these players are benefiting off the court just being associated with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. There's also another issue going on here. Ramona Shelburne points it out. While it doesn't seem like there are many immediate consequences to another formal or informal extension on the CBA talks because training camps don't open until April, I'm starting to hear increasing concern about how this delay could affect scheduling next year. In other words, if there's no CBA, there's no schedule, and arenas start to give dates away to other events. This is a great point that Ramona brings up. Do the owners want to lose that money? Do the owners want to lose that opportunity to bring in all that revenue from a legit act coming to town? From someone that's going to actually fill up the building? Someone who's going to have their fans patronize the concession stands? Food, beer, etc., etc.? This is a great point Ramona Shelburne brings up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
Problem that most people aren't even considering. ESPN's Ramona Shelburne pointed out something crucial. While there don't seem to be immediate consequences to letting negotiations drag on, the delay affects scheduling for next season in ways that could be catastrophic. Here's the problem. No schedule means no schedule. No schedule means arenas start giving away dates to other events. And once those dates are gone, they're gone forever. Think about this from an arena manager's perspective. You've got the WNBA saying maybe we'll have a season, maybe we won't, we can't commit to specific dates. Meanwhile, the Jonas Brothers Tour is ready to book your venue for a Tuesday night in June. Luke Combs wants 3 dates in July. Legitimate concert acts that will fill your building, sell out your concessions, generate guaranteed revenue, ready to sign contracts right now. What decision do you make? You book the concert every single time. The owners are facing the same calculation. Do they want to lose that revenue? Do they want to pass up opportunities to bring in acts that will actually pack the arena and have fans buying $20 beers and $15 hot dogs? Because that's what's at stake here, beyond just the basketball itself. This creates a dynamic where time isn't neutral. Every week that passes without a CBA agreement is another week where arenas commit to other events. And once those dates are booked, they're legally binding. You can't just bump the Jonas Brothers because the WNBA finally got its act together. Those contracts have cancellation penalties. Those tours have schedules. So, players aren't just weighing whether to accept the owner's current proposal. They're weighing whether their leverage actually increases or decreases as time passes. The conventional wisdom in labor negotiations is that time favors the workers because owners lose money during a shutdown. But in this case, owners have alternate revenue streams. Arenas will book other events. The NBA will continue generating billions regardless of what happens in the WNBA. Meanwhile, players lose their only income source. And when the league does return, they might be playing in half-empty arenas on inconvenient dates because all the prime scheduling slots went to Taylor Swift and Beyoncé. The Players Association released a statement late Friday night. They accused the league of undervaluing player contributions, dismissing player concerns, and running out the clock. They said the owners are clinging to a regressive status quo and jeopardizing the livelihood of players and trust of fans, all in the name of preserving provisions that no longer belong in women's basketball. That's the official union position. Strong words, passionate language, but here's the reality check. What happens when individual players start getting calls from their agents with specific offers? What happens when they see teammates considering deals? What happens when they calculate how much money they're turning down, not just in salary, but in marketing opportunities, especially if they're being recruited by high-profile teams? The union's strength depends entirely on solidarity, 100%, and the owners just deployed a strategy specifically designed to test that solidarity by making the cost of standing firm extremely concrete and extremely personal. Here's what makes this particularly brilliant from a strategy perspective. The owners don't need to break the entire union. They don't need every player to cave. They just need to break enough players to create momentum. If 5 or 6 prominent free agents start seriously considering offers, suddenly everyone else starts questioning whether they're making the right choice. If one player signs, it creates permission for others to follow. The dam doesn't need to collapse all at once, it just needs a few cracks. And the owners are betting that showing players actual money, actual opportunities, actual consequences of saying no will create those cracks faster than any amount of negotiating room rhetoric about revenue-sharing percentages and salary cap structures. And you know what the wildest part is? The owners know exactly what they're doing. They're not just showing players what they could earn under the current CBA, they're creating a baseline that agents can immediately translate into what those contracts would become under the owner's proposed deal, the one the union is currently rejecting. So let's do the math that every agent in the WNBA is doing right now with their clients.